Welcome everybody to Fergo and the Freak. I am your host, the Glorious League Freak. We've got a very special guest here today. It's Julie. Hey, Julie.
Hi. And I just realised I'm waving and it's a podcast.
That's all right. That's all right. We can't all be perfect. I mean, I just started recording first time off perfect. Before we start talking about what we're going to talk about, let me tell everybody about a deal that we have for you. If you go to manscaped.com and you put in the code NRL at checkout, you get 20% off and free shipping of everything that's on the website. Okay, and I mean absolutely everything. This month on Fergo and the Freak, it's Pappenhausen month, so we're all using our Manscaped products to get a Pappenhausen going down there. What do you think of the Pappenhausen, by the way, Julie? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know how to answer that.
That's all right. You don't have to.
If you're using Manscaped, it's a good thing. If you're not, no.
Yeah. Okay, on the record, yep. Julie doesn't like the bush. So go to manscaped.com, put in the code NRL, and make Julie proud. So, now that we've got that out of the way, today we found out that the Parramatta Eels are scrapping their cheerleaders after more than 50 years. The cheerleaders were informed about this today. It seems very late for them to be informed about it. And, yeah, it was really disappointing for all the cheerleaders. Former cheerleaders were disappointed as well. And it seems to be one of those decisions that's upset a lot of people and has really been made for no reason. What did you think about it when you heard about the decision?
I was angry and disappointed.
Yeah.
Because they're not the first team to get rid of a cheerleader team. Well, squad. But this is my club. This is who I follow. So I'm passionate about cheerleaders. I'm passionate about Parramatta. And there's no reason to get rid of cheerleaders. If they're saying it's because of money, well, one of the top management can take a 1% pay cut.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it won't cost that much to keep them going.
You wouldn't think so. And they add so much to the club. Like, they do a lot of work outside of game day as representatives of the club. And I don't think people realise how much they actually do.
Yeah, they're not just cheerleaders. They're ambassadors on and off the field.
Yeah. And that's, I saw some people today on Twitter, and Twitter was kind of weird about this subject today, but I saw some people saying that, cheerleaders are an outdated concept, and, it was almost like trying to protect women in a way from being cheerleaders, not understanding
that... Yeah, well, get rid of the mascots. If cheerleaders are antiquated, get rid of mascots.
Well, that's the thing, and it's like, if you talk to any of the cheerleaders, and we are going to talk to a former cheerleader later on in the week, they absolutely love what they do. They love what they do more than most fans love their club. Like, they work hard to become a cheerleader. All of them have dancing backgrounds these days. They put in a lot of time and effort into their work as a cheerleader. They love being ambassadors for the clubs. They're some of the best ambassadors for the clubs, is one thing we need to say. And this idea that you've got to take that away from anybody, I don't know, it just seems like a weird concept to me.
Yeah, like you tell me of one cheerleader that's been involved in an off-field scandal.
Exactly.
Like, you can't.
No. And the thing is, too, it's weird to see people apply their own weird hang-ups about cheerleaders in the discussion. Like,
yeah.
Have you seen that today where people will be like, it's, we're sexualizing these young women and they're just there for eye candy? And it's like, whoa. Like, you're the one thinking that. Don't apply that to everyone else.
Yeah. And have you spoken to any cheerleaders?
Exactly.
Like, if you speak to any cheerleader, they'll be like, no, that's not what's happening. And it's like this was another way for women to be involved in rugby league. And they've just taken another avenue away from us.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and I said this today, to think about this moment when Women in League round comes around, because the Parramatta Eels just sacked, I mean, how many cheerleaders are there at a club? Like 20 odd, around that number?
Yeah. And then there's the junior squads
Mm-hmm.
as well. So you haven't just taken it away from, like, women, you've taken it away from children.
Yeah, and they're highly visible at game day as well. And
Yeah,
we've just taken away this moment that women can be involved in the game. And look, there's many ways women can be involved in rugby league, and this is one of them. And I don't understand how you get rid of that avenue that some women love and they work hard to get there. You get rid of it
exactly. It's
to
not
help them.
easy.
Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's not easy to be a cheerleader. It's a lot more physical and you have to be personable as well.
Hmm.
So there's a lot more to it than what people say. There's like, oh, they're just shaking pom poms. No, there's more to that job than, like, you have to entertain the crowd
Hmm.
and you have to be good doing it.
And the other thing
And
is too, it provides avenues to get a foot in the door in the game for women, and
yeah,
a lot of them go on to other things. And I know that there's a number of cheerleaders that we follow one another on Twitter, and I've seen them start off in cheerleading, and now they've got roles within the game that are, you know, I mean, management roles and things like that. And
yeah,
it all started with them getting in a foot in the door through cheerleading.
yeah, and they're not what people think. They're like, oh, cheerleaders are bimbos. No, they're not. Do you know there's a lot of them in the legal profession?
Mm,
A lot of them.
yeah. It is really weird to me that we would get rid of cheerleaders, and it's under the guise of we're doing it for women, when in fact it's just a way to, what you're really doing is cutting more women out of the game, which is the last thing we need right now.
Exactly, especially with some of the people that they have employed in some like roles in the clubs.
Yeah, 100%. Now, other clubs have replaced cheerleaders with like drum crews. That's the only thing I can think that's being used. What would you
Yeah,
think?
there's
Sorry, go
there's
on.
dance crew. I was going to say there's a dance squads now.
Hmm.
Like I think that's Melbourne Storm. It's called a dance crew or something like that.
And what's the difference between cheerleaders and a dance crew?
Well, from what I can tell from an NRL stance,
Hmm.
there's men in them, and that legitimizes what they're doing. So to be able to have cheerleaders, you have to have men in there for it to be legitimate. Otherwise, they shouldn't have it.
And
That's
how
what I'm
weird is
getting.
that?
Like at first, I used to say, oh, we should to keep cheerleaders. Maybe we should look at getting some men in there. But why? Why do we need to have men in there
Mhm.
to legitimize it?
Yeah, I agree. And like, if you had a dude that was qualified to do the cheerleading, and they went in and they went, because it's a tryout process. People probably don't
Mm,
realize that. You don't just walk up and
mm,
say, I want to be a cheerleader, and they say, well, here's your cheerleading uniform, and go out there. Like, there's a big tryout process. If
yeah,
a male got through all that process and ended up part of a cheerleading squad, I don't think anyone would have a problem with that. But as you say, this
yeah,
idea that, we have cheerleaders that are all women, but we're going to get rid of them, and we'll make it 50-50 now with men, and then that's fine. It's like,
yeah.
why is that fine? Why couldn't we just have the women being cheerleaders? Like, why wasn't that fine? I don't get it. For me, I look at this situation and I'm like, you just got rid of all these jobs for women in rugby league. You made them less visible on game day, and you did it for them. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, like I've got nothing against like men being cheerleaders and that. Like I'm
No.
all for that as well. It's
Mm,
just that in this particular instance, it seems like the NRL can only have dance crews now.
mm. Why do I feel like dance crews as well all have to wear like matching tracksuits and wear hats sidewards?
Because that's what old men think look cool.
Now, if the Eels decide to bring in a drum crew or whatever they'd call it,
Mm,
how murderous would you get hearing drums like for 2 hours during an Eels game?
yeah, I'd be just sitting there seething, going, "Where are my cheerleaders? Where are my cheerleaders?" Uh,
It, it's so it's so weird. It's weird when you see um, people trying to, and look, the Eels might have, and they probably did this for cost cutting. And I agree with you. It is so weak if it's cost cutting because the amount of money rugby league clubs waste. And if they're saying, well, look, we'll get rid of the cheerleaders, and all of these directors are keeping their free cars and stuff. I mean, that's disgusting.
yeah, it's like like someone in management can take a 1% pay cut,
Hmm.
or like here's another option: when you buy a membership, would you like to donate $1 towards keeping the cheerleaders? If people say yes, well then Parramatta no.
Well, what about if
Parramatta
they
fans want cheerleaders. If not
what if
enough
they
people do it,
had
they know no.
yeah, you could have like your Parramatta Eels membership, and if you add $5 to that membership, which is not much considering how much a membership is, you're also a member of the Parramatta Cheerleaders membership group, which I don't know what that would involve. But even if it is just a pure like, you keep the cheer squad going at the how it is. I mean, that might be enough to cover the costs, but they haven't even given that option, and it's very sad to get rid of such a tradition, especially for one of the cheer squads in the NRL that is one of the most highly visible and one of the like some teams they really modernized their cheer squad over the
Mm.
last 15, 20 years, and Parramatta was one of them. And so to lose them, I just think it's very sad.
Yeah, Monique Carroll did a really, really good job with them, and like she's also in charge of the Manly Seabirds,
Mhm.
which I think after seeing everyone's reaction on Twitter today, I think that's part of the reason why people are so passionate about their responses, like either for or against keeping cheerleaders in the game, is because they were so visible. People know about them. Like
Mhm.
there's some where you're like, they still have cheerleaders? Oh, I
Mhm.
didn't know that.
Mhm.
But you know, those two are quite visible. The Pantherettes are quite visible. Like, and I think, with having COVID, people losing jobs, there hasn't been really any off-field scandals this season. And, it's getting close to the start. I think everyone's like latched onto this and went, "Ooh, we have a story now." I feel passionate about this.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that you've also got a lot of people that rugby league. It is a good avenue for change in society because it is so visible, and there's some good things that rugby league has done to try and get on the front foot and make some changes normalized, I guess, or push forward for some changes, which have been good for
Yeah,
society. And I think when people see something along these lines, they think, like, hang on a second, this is kind of, it's either change for change's sake or change we don't need. And I don't know, I feel very sad for the cheerleaders who put their heart and soul into this, and they would have been ready to rock and roll for this season, and now
yeah,
it's just been stopped, and I just feel sad for all of them who, they were looking forward to having these experiences this year to get out. It was disrupted last year, and to get out and have a good year this year, and it's just the rug's been pulled from under them.
Yeah, and it's like it seems like such a really, really late decision. So it's kind of like surely they must have been thinking about this, last year.
Yeah, it can't have been just something they decided in the last even week or so.
Yeah, so why do it right near the start of the season?
Mm,
It's it's mind-boggling. I'm really disappointed in Parramatta.
yeah, yeah, so am I.
Like I've
Um,
even noticed journalists are
mhm.
gauging what um, people on social media are saying before they're actually forming an opinion.
I've noticed that too, hey?
Yeah, yeah. They're like taking polls and going, yes, we've noticed that a lot of people want to keep them. So Parramatta, listen to us, bring our cheerleaders back.
Yeah, look, I hope that they reverse the decision. I hope they see how passionate people are about the cheer squads and about keeping women within the game that love the game, that work hard for the game, that are good for its image, and that work their asses off to be in that position, and they see it as a position of pride and real privilege to be there. And I
Mm.
really do. I hope that the Eels reconsider this decision, because they need to. They flat out need to.
Yeah, all the clubs need to.
Yeah.
All the clubs need to have cheerleaders. I even
Now,
think that State of Origin need cheerleaders.
yeah, I know that they used to. I don't know if they still do though.
Well, if they don't bring them back, have the best of the best.
Hmm.
Same as like the NRL Origin teams have NRL Origin cheerleaders.
Imagine you could have like cheerleader selectors.
Yeah.
You could have, what else? Like, I
You know,
guess they are their own squads once you get to the rep level, but it would be interesting. You'd even go up to kangaroo level with your
yeah,
cheerleading squads.
exactly. See, we're just creating more avenues for women to be involved in the game. We're creating more jobs. We need to take over the NRL.
We really do. We really do. Institute instant cheerlead, like professional cheerleaders. That's what we need. Make them
Yep.
professionals. That'd be
Yep.
great. So, okay, so the Eels this year, the club on the
Yep.
field. What do you think of their chances this year? They were very disappointing towards the end of last year. Um, it looked like they were going to be really hard to beat last year, and it just all petered out, unfortunately. What are your thoughts going into this year?
As a Parramatta fan, am I meant to be saying we're going to win the premiership? I can't see it happening. We'll get close. I'm hoping top four.
Hmm.
That's my fond hope.
Hmm.
It's realistic to aim for top eight.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we'll make the grand final. I hope they prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, and especially losing the cheerleaders as well. We're not going to be able to do as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think we'll get close. But yeah, I can't see a premiership anytime soon.
Yeah, look, at the start of last year, I was like, it's going to be hard to beat the Eels. And with the way that Moses played towards the end of last year, I do. I think he was injured, but
Yeah,
it just the whole thing was so disappointing. It almost felt like they peaked too early, and you kind of wondered if they'd missed their chance a little bit. And I think we'll find out really early this year. I think if they come out and they're disappointing out of the gates, it will be a bad sign.
yeah,
But at the same time, you don't want them looking like world beaters for the first 2 months of the season either.
yeah. Just consistency. They need strong direction. That
Mm-hmm.
I think Parramatta is always losing that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know I've said this on Twitter before, and I've been absolutely like annihilated for it,
Mm-hmm.
especially I've said sometimes I think Parramatta need, can't believe I'm going to say this, need a player like Mitchell Pearce
Hmm.
because people know my views. I don't think he's the best player in the world. I think sometimes he can be overrated.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he is overrated.
Hmm.
There's other players that are better than him in his position, and he gets more applause for it than what he should. But in Parramatta, I think they need that type of player who can just go, okay, 1, 2, pass, you do this, you do that, you need a bit of organisation, let's just do this. You know, you don't have to be that great. You just need to be that kind of player to just kind of direct them around because sometimes they just get lost.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I
They've
think
got
that,
talent to
yeah,
just like throw the ball around, just do things off the cuff. They need that type of player that just is structured. Like a better player would be like, you need Cooper Cronk.
hmm.
You
See, I
need
think
Cronk.
with
He's not.
with Dylan Brown, he gives them like he's been very good in the big games, even though he's a young player. And I think that he is a really good offsider to Mitch Moses because when Moses does go a little bit quiet, Brown can actually take over everything. And
Yeah.
he might be the same sort of deal with if they brought in a Mitchell Pearce. Um, you know, Pearce would help them in defence. The I just
They
think,
don't need attack. They need defense.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I think the other thing with that Pearce would give them is, as you say, he'd be able to organise the team a little bit. And, you know, the only problem I have with that move, if they say did a play swap with Pearce and Moses, I feel like Moses, if he is in form, he can make that team almost unbeatable. Like when
Oh
he
yeah, no,
just,
I don't want to lose Moses.
yeah. Well, so you would have Pearce at 5'8" then, would you?
Yeah, in some kind of supporting role. He can just float around somewhere. I don't care where he is.
Like,
Just he can be on the bench yelling things from the sidelines
hang on, you want Mitchell Pearce as a spectator?
for Parramatta.
Get him in at coach.
Can't do worse than some of the other coaches we've had in the
That's
past.
true. That's true. That's very true. I thought they should have gone after Benji Marshall. Hey, I thought
Oh yeah.
he would have been great for them.
Oh, he would have been better than Pearce.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Go Benji first.
Yeah,
They missed a massive opportunity there.
I agree. I think if they had have even got Benji towards the end of last year, that would have made me really worry about Parramatta. I think he would have
Yeah.
come in and really given them a kick up the backside. Do you agree?
Yeah, he would have been able to inject some new life into because they kind of plateaued a bit.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, we got on. We talked about the cheerleaders. We've talked about the Eels. Is there anything else on your mind regarding rugby league this year?
It's just going to be interesting to see what it's going to look like.
Mm.
Like, are we going to actually be able to be in the crowds again? Are we going to have cardboard cutouts? I don't know. Like after last year, I have no idea what to really expect from NRL. I'm disappointed that they're not coming to South Australia
Yep.
at
Yeah.
all, considering that they had like what was it? Storm and Roosters were going there for a Roosters home game, and then we were getting State of Origin, and now they're like, oh no, we don't need South Australia. Like, what was the point?
I agree. I agree 100%. It's like they put all of the things in place and they get the games going. They're like, we'll get some interest in Adelaide, we'll get some interest in Perth, and then they say, oh, fuck that, we're out of here. And you kind of
Yeah,
think to yourself, what was that all about then?
yeah. Like South Australians are very, very passionate about things made for South Australia. So bring back Adelaide Rams.
I agree, 100%.
Bring
We
them
need
back.
the Rams back. We need the Reds back, and it looks like we're going to get the Brisbane Jets as well, which is awesome. It's awesome having you back on the podcast. We'll get you on a bunch more this year.
Yes, what?
And
Well, I still have time.
yeah, well, you got time before you make it another human being.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome.
It's been great being on. I hope I haven't been too nervous again. It's been a while,
No, you did good.
but I've had fun.
Do you want to wrap up doing the Manscaped ad?
No, I'll leave that to you. And
Okay.
maybe do I have to say so? Who should we be following on social media?
Well, okay, you do the social media outro stuff. By the way, where can we find you on social media?
At RL Mums, which is
Mhm.
Rugby League Mums, and
Mhm.
you can also find me at Eels Dance Mum.
Excellent. And if you go to manscaped.com and you put in the code NRL at checkout, you get 20% off. That's like 1/5 of the price. And you get free shipping. And you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. Like, what more do you want? Go there, get the Lawnmower 3.0. It's waterproof. It has like two or three different settings that you can use for the height and stuff. It's Pappenhausen month. You got to join us. You got to join the Fergo and the Freak Brotherhood here, or sisterhood, whatever your deal is. And yeah, get involved. Manscaped.com. NRL is your code. Julie, where can they find the podcast?
At Fergo Freak Pod.
Yep, that's the one.
Yes.
we've also got a website. It's fergoandthefreak.com. You can go there. You can send us some messages, some emails. Tell us what you're thinking about the cheerleaders going. We want to hear what you all think. And thank you for joining us, Julie. It's been fantastic.
It has. Glad to be back on.
It's been great. Any last words for our listeners?
Hey.
Hey. 13 is locked. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Bye-bye.